Tomorrow, voters in Iowa will be the first in the nation to cast ballots to decide who should be the Republican nominee for the president at the election this year. But the presidential hopefuls have been forced to cancel last-minute campaign events as the state is gripped by record cold temperatures. Sky News Washington correspondent Annalise Nielsen is in Davenport, Iowa for us. Annalise, good to see you. What are voters there telling you?
Look, Kenny, voters are telling us they're cold. This is set to be the coldest Iowa caucuses on record since they became a fixture on the political calendar for the US presidential races in 1972. And this isn't just making our job a little tougher, it's also changing how this campaign is unfolding. There's been blizzard-like conditions over the last couple of days, and what that's done is made it quite difficult for these candidates to be getting out and about and meeting people, which is the hallmark of the Iowa caucuses. This is where anyone who wants to be president goes out and meets voters face to face. They shake hands, they look them in the eye, and they talk about their policies at length and go through one of the biggest tests for anyone who wants to be president of the United States. Donald Trump is still leading all of those polls, and the other two contenders who've really floated to the top have been Nikki Haley, the former South Carolina governor and former UN ambassador, and Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, who's become quite popular in the United States after the pandemic. And so what we've seen here is a tough run for these candidates in the last couple of days. Nikki Haley has had to move a couple of events to be tele-town halls, to be virtual. Donald Trump had to do much the same, having a virtual town hall last night that was broadcast out with a few of his supporters there joining him on the screen. Now, why this is critical is because this is where any candidate gains momentum, and this is where people get knocked out of the race. If you can't get a foothold in Iowa, it's really hard to sustain a campaign that runs this long. Donald Trump is hoping Iowa resumes what's been a very successful run for him in the state, for Republicans supporting him. In his town hall, he said that he thinks Iowa will back him in from the policies he implemented while he was president.
I guess a couple of people came to say, please don't be so arrogant about getting the Iowa vote. I said, look, I got them $28 billion from China. Do you think Biden would get you $28 billion? He'll lose you $28 billion. And the farmers did. That was one of the greatest deals I made, but I don't talk about it. It was with China because of COVID. I don't even talk about it. But $28 billion, took care of your ethanol, took care of every problem you had. There's nobody, it's been said in even editorials, there's nobody that's done more for Iowa than Donald Trump when I was president.
And look, there's a few reasons candidates would be postponing events. They don't want the optics of showing up to an event and no one's come there to see them because it's too cold. It's also quite dangerous for an event like one with the president. You do have to go through Secret Service security, and it's tough to go through that process if you have to wait outside in these frigid temperatures. Right now, where we are in Davenport, Iowa, it's negative 23 degrees Celsius, and that goes down to negative 35 if you include the wind chill factor. But these candidates have been pushing on, and it's tough. There's a lot of things that can throw them out of this race if they don't have the positive support that they need on the ground. Ron DeSantis was caught out by one comedian who bailed him up to give him a participation trophy.
Before we get started, thank you, everyone. Governor DeSantis, I want to present to you this participation trophy. Now, probably not going to win the election, right? But we're proud of you for trying. There you go. No, I mean, sorry, buddy. He's special, he's unique, and he's our little snowflake. Thank you. Here you go. Did you want the award? We're so proud to give.
So, Kenny, you might be wondering where we are right now. We're at a gun show in Davenport because we thought to ourselves, where are we going to find Republicans out on a day this cold? What are they going to come out for? A lot of the restaurants have been closed. There's been issues getting into different places because there's been snow blocking us in from getting there. So we've been here at the gun show where people have turned out. They've come to have a look at what they can purchase. Look, they're big on their Second Amendment right. It's probably no surprise that this is big Donald Trump area for support, but we did speak to one candidate who's still, one person who's hosting a caucus, I should say, who's still making up their mind. What did you think of Nikki Haley when you met her?
Very well-spoken. Her policies are good. I hope she can win the support of, if she ends up being the candidate. I mean, I think she's making a good presence across the United States from what I hear.
Who are you going to caucus for?
That's a tough question right now. I mean, I'm a Trump guy through and through, not for his actions, but how he handles policy in foreign countries and the economy. He needs to put his Twitter down, but other than that, I mean, otherwise I'm probably a Nikki Haley.
So, Kenny, the big question is, in this first-in-the-nation vote, will the weather stop people turning out? Will it impact Donald Trump if those older voters don't feel confident going out in the cold weather? And what will this mean for the presidency? We'll have all the details over the next 24 hours as this plays out.
Yeah, minus 35 degrees feel like temperature outside. I can't even imagine. Annalise Nielsen, thanks so much. Talk to you soon.